Hello and welcome back. In this session, we're going to take a look at React routing. So, what React routing is all about? We'll first understand this with a demo. So, here I have this demo, and this is a single page application in React. And here we have a menu that's shown to the user. When the user clicks on a specific item, we are actually mapping that request to an URL. So, when I click on register, you have slash register URL coming here. And this URL is actually mapped to a component called register component. This is a functional component which we are trying to invoke. So when I click on register, we refer to slash register, and this URL is mapped to a component called register, which is rendered here. So again, contact. When I click on contact, you can very well see we are requesting slash contact, and this URL is mapped to a component called the contact component, which is rendered here. So every menu item here is actually linked to an URL, and that URL is mapped to a component, and that component is rendered here. So inside a single page application in React, we are giving the user an illusion that he is able to navigate to multiple pages. This is an illusion that the user gets, and this is called routing. What is routing? Say when I click on this link, I'm routing that to a specific component using this URL. So I'm binding components to an URL. And when I click on a menu item, I'm just invoking that specific component that is being bound to this URL, and I'm rendering it here in this page. So this is all about routing. That is the concept for today. And we are going to see how to implement this application. So routing in React, it's all about the mechanism that manages how users navigate between different sections or views in the application. This is all happening within a single HTML page. We are looking at a single HTML page now. And this actually creates an illusion of multiple pages, even though the user is actually on a single page application. So there is no need for full page reloads when we are working with React routing concepts. When you're working with the routing, the very first thing that you should install is this package called React Router. And how you install that is you go to your terminal, you type in this command npm install React Router DOM. This is the version of this package. So installation of this package is mandatory for us to get this application working. That is the React Router package. So what is React Router package? It's a popular library specifically designed to manage navigation and routing within React applications. So this package helps us to create single page applications that offer a fluid user experience without full page reloads. So React Router has got all these components: browser router, routes, and route. See, what I told you is we have a component, and this component is mapped to an URL. Say slash register is mapped to which component? Register.js. This is the file containing the component register component. Likewise, slash about, this is the URL that's being actually mapped to which component? That is the about.js file containing the about component. So every URL pattern is mapped to a component. So there should be a dictionary maintaining the URL pattern and the component names. For that, we'll be using BrowserRouter, routes, and route. So what is the use of this? This is actually helping us manage the URL patterns, and for this URL pattern, which component should be invoked. What is the use of link and outlet? See, I have menu items shown on my page. These are the menu items. When I click on this menu items, I'll be referring to an URL pattern. I'll be calling an URL pattern using link to. Say link to register. So link to register means, okay, I want this specific URL. I'm just linking to this URL. When I'm linking to this URL, how will I know which component I should invoke? I'll have a dictionary which maintains this URL is mapped to this component. So using that, that specific component will be rendered. Outlet is actually where your component will be rendered. Say I have this menu here, and when I click on a component, I'm linking to an URL, say slash register. And this component will be rendered in the same page using this component called outlet. So we'll be understanding all these things using a simple application now. Let's try and code this. But even before coding this, let me show you this browser router example. So this is the browser router and it contains routes. Routes contain a list of route. What do you mean by a route is the URL. So the URL for this specific component by name register is this is register and the parent element is a slash. So this is the layout page containing the menu that will be shown to the user. The URL for the layout page is a slash, and for all the child elements, the URL will be the path plus the path of the parent element. So what is the path for register component? It is slash register. So slash register is mapped to which component? Register component. Likewise, slash contact is mapped to which component? Contact component. So this is the dictionary of routes maintained inside the routes, and that's falling under browser router. So this helps us in managing the dictionary, which URL is mapped to which pattern. And next we have a separate component for each of that specific clicks. So home.js, contactor.js, or all simple functional components that return some JSX, register.js, about And this is this layout.js file which is being thrown to the user. And what is that he is able to see? He is able to see the menu items. And we have a layout.cs file to actually style that menu and that entire page. So whenever he clicks, that specific URL pattern is requested. When that URL pattern is requested, it uses browser router to find, okay, this URL pattern maps to this component and that component will be rendered. The next one question is where that component will be rendered. So inside layout itself, I have given outlet. So that component, whatever component we have identified, we request slash register. That means this is invoking the register component. We identify this using the browser router, right? And this register component will be rendered in the same page wherever you have your outlet. So that's it. This is going to get us uh, this is going to actually get us to this kind of an output which I have shown you. So this is where outlet is. So you request a component, it's rendered here. Let's quickly try coding this. The first step is we will code all the independent components. So we have register.js. So first we'll code register component. So for this, let me use the ES7 code snippet. And what this is going to return is maybe an H2 element containing register with us. Some text will return. And we have finished our register component. The next component we are going to code is about us component. So for this, again, we'll code this about us component. This is going to be a very simple functional component with this H2 element saying, say, code spindle was coded by Satish CJ. So I have coded code spindle as an individual. So it's about us component, and we also have home component. For home component, again, it's a simple thing. We'll have an h2 tag saying, okay, we should just type it here. So we have an h2 tag saying, welcome to our home page. So this is the home page. So home, register, about us, and there's a contact us. So for this also we'll have some contact info. We'll return this h2 element, contact us using the code spindle contact form. So that is how we complete the code for individual components. Some simple components we have home.js, welcome to our home page. We're just returning an h2 element, and we have register.js, register with us, about.js, just something about code spindle. Contact.js, contact us info. Next comes layout. So what is the use of layout is we will be having that menu display to the user. And this is the primary page that the user will be interacting with. So first we'll code import. We'll have outlet and link imported from React Router DOM. So you should first install React Router package. Only then you'll be able to import this. Next, we'll also import a CSS file. Say this is optional. You won't have some CSS. You can import this. I have created this layout.css file. So let's add that. And now let's create this component. So this is the component we have layout. And what this component is going to return is nav element. Let's have this nav element here. And this nav element is going to have an unordered list of menu items, say li. And each li is actually going to link to so we are going to link to, say when the user looks at home, when he clicks on home, it should link to an URL. So this is the pattern for our home page. It's a slash. Like that, you can have menu items thrown to the user. So we have four menus: home, register, about, and contact. Okay, and we link to the home page using a slash. For register, the URL we are requesting is slash register. For about us, the URL we are requesting is slash about. I'm sorry, it's slash about. And for contact, we are requesting this URL contact. And this about our menu items. Say when the user clicks on a menu, we are just requesting this specific URL. What next we have to do is we should define our outlet. So here I'm just going to have a div element containing class name to be main content. This is just for styling. You can skip this if you're not interested in styling. And what is it we are going to have here is we are going to have the outlet. Okay, close this. See, we are getting an error here because the entire thing, we are returning multiple statements. We'll return the entire thing using a fragment. So this entire thing should be within a fragment. So that removes our errors. Export default layout. So our layout page is ready. This is our layout. Now what we'll do is we'll go to our main app.js file. So I have created this main app.js. So here we'll be having our browser router and the routes. Let's add those things here. So here is our main app.js. What is that we're going to perform here is we'll have an import React from React, and we should import every component here. See, we have coded all these components. We have to import all the components here. Let's so what we have to do here is we have to import every component. Let me import about us from about us.js. So we are importing every component here. That's the meaning. Likewise, we have to import contact from contact.js. Likewise, we have to import register from register.js. So we are importing every file, and import. We also had home from home.js, and we'll also import layout, the main page that the user will interact with. So we'll import that import layout from layout.js. So we have imported all the pages that we have created now, and we should also import browser router. So this is there. So we have to import browser router from React Router DOM. We have already installed this package. We should install browser router. Now what we'll do is we'll code our main app function component for this. This is the main app, and what our main app contains is browser router. So we'll have browser router, and inside this browser router, what is that we're going to have is set of routes. So routes is nothing but the dictionary of routes. So routes will have lot of route elements that we are going to call. So we'll be having this parent route element. This parent route element, the path is a slash. And what is that element? What is the component this specific path is mapped onto is layout. So this is the parent route element, and inside this we'll have other children. Say we'll have other child routes. So let's inside this we'll have other children. So route. So we're going to have other children here. So what is the first child is? It's going to be path is equal to. So we're going to have about. See, for a child, the URL is this path in combination with the parent path. So it's a slash about. And what is the component that's mapped to this? The element is equal to. So for about, the component that we are going to invoke is about us. So that's how you actually maintain routes. So like that, you're going to have a few more routes. So let me duplicate this. So for register, what is the path? This one plus the parent. So what is the component we are going to invoke here? Register. And likewise for contact, what is the path? It is contact, that is slash contact. And what is the component we are mapping that to? Contact. So that is the component. So we are maintaining a list of routes here. So that's coming under routes, and that's under browser router. See, there's also one more thing that we can specify. What is the index element, or which is the component that should be rendered as an index element? So we have a route, and then we'll mention index element. So this is the component that will be rendered by default. So that is the home component. Okay. So we have created all the components, and we have mentioned that in our browser router. So this is the dictionary that is containing the URLs and then the components that should be triggered. Now we have our main app which we have coded. What we'll do here is we'll actually import main app in index.js. So let's import main app from main app.js file, and we'll render main app. Save this. Let's take a look at the output. Identifier has already been React. Import React from React. Let's take a look at this. Okay, this is already defined. Let's save this. About us is not defined. So where is about us? This is about us .js. So about us. So U is capital letters. So let's go to main app. About us. So this is the component, right? So we should have the component name to be correct. So we have fixed our errors. Let's take a look at the output now. So index is equal to element. So here there's an issue in the component. We should return the components like this, which we have missed out. So let's so this is the syntax for calling a component, which we have not used here. This is an error which I committed. Let's rectify this. And this is for the contact component. Let's save this. Let's take a look at the output. Link. So there is this issue with layout.js. So link to is actually a capital L here. That's the issue. We have to be very cautious about this cases. Let's link to and L here. We are expecting corresponding closing tag. So I'm sorry for this mistake, but should rectify these mistakes so that our code runs. Save this. Okay, compiled successfully. So now you're able to see this. Let me close this. So when I click on home, welcome to our home page. When I click on register, register with us. When I click on about, code spindle was coded by Satish CJ. When I click on contact, you can now contact us using code spindle contact form. So we can very well our layout.css, we can write some CSS content so that this is getting styled as per the requirements we have seen in our initial demo. So what is that we have learned here is we have our layout file and very important case sensitive. So link L is in caps. And next thing what we have learned is in our main app, we should be calling the components using the right syntax. These were the errors we have received. And once when we have rectified these errors and we rendered our main app using index.js, we are able to receive our output, and that's perfectly working now. So you can add CSS by importing that CSS file. You'll be able to style this page properly. I hope you are now clear with what is routing in React and the use of React Router with respect to creating single page applications. So if you have any questions, you can leave those questions as comments below. That's it for now. Take care.